Hello, and welcome to Module 2. I'm so excited. I think some people are going to be jumping on. The majority of people are watching this replay. So first and foremost, welcome. This is Module 2. Last week, we talked about how to get over all of the limiting beliefs and fears and doubts that prevent you from even starting or going further in your career. It's so important to start there because mindset alone will knock you out of the game and sabotage you if you do not purposefully create a strong, positive, confident mindset of positive self-belief. So that's what we did the first module. And we talked about how to anchor this in as your calling, not just a job, not just a career, but a calling that really is going to serve the world and going to do so in only the way that you can, in your unique way. So that was last week. Now we're moving into incredible next level clarity about you, your gifts, your talents, your skills, your vibe, the thing that makes you you, as well as your own values and your personal story and the business vision that you ultimately dream of. And we're starting here because when you know what you're good at, you know your lane, you don't waste time operating outside of your gifts. You stay true to who you are, you play upon your strengths, you develop your gifts and talents, and that's how you fucking rock it in any space that there is. So gifts and talents, huge. Then we are going to figure out what your values are because this is your compass for your business. When you make decisions about what to offer, what to price it at, if you want to collab with people, do business partnerships, you want to know what your values are so that you build in accordance and alignment with your values. So you never get off track to your compass. Then we're going to go into your story. So when you extract your personal story and the personal story behind your brand and who you are, it does so much for you. First, it gives you such clarity and really does connect you to your calling. You see how everything had to happen the way it did for you to be here to then go help others and serve others. So your story matters. Secondly, it's absolutely a point of connection between you and your audience, you and your clients. When you're clear on your stories and you know what they are, it helps you develop content, but it also helps you connect to the people who get you. And when you share yours, people feel connected and it opens them up to you. It creates all this beautiful overflow in your business. So getting clear on your story is so key. We're going to do that together. Then we're going to go over your vision, like the dream for your business. And don't worry if you don't know what it is yet. I'm going to just ask you some open-ended questions to help you narrow down what it is that you want, because the whole purpose of this, the whole reason why you're here is to do something you love that serves other people. Do what you're meant to do. And when you have clarity on all these things, then you're building with a solid foundation and everything gets to be icing on the cake. So let's talk gifts, talents, and strengths. Because when I started off in my entrepreneurial career, I had no clue what I was good at or what my gifts were. I thought it was a very weird concept at the time. Sorry, I was stop with my hands. I thought it was a very weird concept. I thought of gifts as very crazy talents that people would have. And failure to recognize my own gifts and my own value really had me miss out on opportunities and go for big things because I didn't really know what I had to add. Now I do. I know where I shine. I know what I was born here to do. I know what I gravitate towards. And I want you to have that same clarity so that you can operate in your gifts. There's no better feeling. First and foremost, you have to have the mindset that you do have a gift, let alone multiple gifts. You have to accept the fact that you have gifts and talents that are meant to help people. It's born in you. It's there, okay? It's important for you to know that. You could think, oh, maybe they have something, but I don't. You have them. Part two, you got to realize that your gifts and talents are subtle, but we're going to go through a couple different ways to find out your gifts and talents and your strengths. Once you find them, it's important that you have the intention to grow them. Like anything, everything is practice. And the more you practice being in your gifts, the more you activate them and the more they come through you. And then after you've activated them, you know what you're good at. Maybe it's speaking, maybe it's deep empathy, maybe it's an ability to write, and say you're like rocking in your gifts, right? Then you have to let that inform the things you do. Say you go to choose a social media strategy. Well, you want to choose something that's in alignment with your gifts, in alignment with what you naturally love to do, right? The more you can align to who you really are, the better everything is in your business. So you have them. Now let's find them. I want you to answer these questions. What do you love to do? What would you do for free? For me, I love to give advice. I love to inspire. So just jot down words. I love to inspire. I love to help people. I love to talk. I love to ask questions. I love to organize information. I love to teach. You know, what are things that you love to do? And just let the answers flow. Then, what are you good at? Like, what are you actually naturally good at, big or small? Like, are you good at listening? Are you good at holding space for someone, meaning that they feel comfortable and you can just hold space as they are opening up to you or sharing something? Are you a natural encourager? Are you a natural healer? Do you like taking care of people? Do you love knowledge and wisdom? Do you love creating, building? Like, what are the things that you're great at doing? Sorry, what are you good at? Then what do people tell you you're good at? Like, what do people say, damn, you're so good at that, or that really helps me? What is the feedback you get from other people? Write this all down. Then think about what you are interested in and inspired by. Write that all down. So you're going to find your gifts and your strengths at the intersection of the things that you're naturally good at doing, the things you love to do, and the things that people say they love when you do that help them. The intersection of those three things is going to show you where your talents and skills lie. Okay, so where we just left off was that when you ask yourself the questions and reflect on the things about yourself that are your natural things that you love, the things that you love to do, the things that you would do for free, and the things that people around you reflect back to you that they love and that help them. When you reflect on those three things, you start to get clear on what you're gifted at. And again, maybe you're gifted at listening, maybe you're gifted at communicating or holding space or teaching or lifting people up, or maybe you're gifted at creative projects and people love when you create things. Whatever it is, when you find your gifts, I want you to practice them and lean into them and stay in the space of your gifts as much as you can. The last part of this little first section is about your strengths. So when I first was finding out all of this stuff about myself, I came across this test called a Strengths Finder 2.0. And I took this test, and it's one of the personality tests, and it's still so good to take to this day. If you've already done this, revisit it, because what it does is it's all these personality questions. And at the end, you're given this Strengths Finder report of your top 5 strengths, what they are, and then how you can use them and work with other people with them. I highly, highly, highly recommend taking this test. I remember my first report of this was one of the most insightful experiences of my life, because if you're anything like me, it's very hard to recognize your strengths. It's hard for us because it becomes like a self-love thing. It's hard to admit when you're good at something or even recognize it. And the thing with gifts, talents, and strengths is that they're so natural to you that you probably don't even recognize how good you are at this thing. And what's important is that once you start getting clear on all of this about yourself, this is just going to inform everything you do and all the moves that you make in your business and career. You have to be so clear on the value you bring, who you are, what you're great at, and use that to move you forward. We focus so much on what we can't do and what other people are doing, but this is how you stay in your own lane. As you get so clear on all this about yourself, you align as much as you can to this, and this is where you stay. You stay in your gifts, talents, and strengths. So the next thing, moving from inner resources, is now getting you super clear on your values. I had an incredible coaching session today with someone, and I've actually never had a client say, hey, I'd like to get really clear on my values. Do you think we can do that? I'm like, of course. But I was so impressed that she, who's going through this life transition, relationship-wise, wants to kind of rediscover herself. And she knew that you start with your values. It's something that we weren't really taught to explore growing up. But once you know what your values are concretely, and you have your set of what we call core values, 3 to 5 things that you live by, it makes it so much easier to make decisions in your business, career, and life. It makes it so much easier to choose the kind of work, the kind of people, the kind of path that is in alignment with you. Because when you know your values, you know yourself, and it's how you can make decisions across any area of your life. So I'm going to share a quick way. By the way, if you haven't done value stuff before, it's super easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop into the chat a list of values, right? It's a pretty damn big list. I'm going to send a list of values, and I want you to think about the ones that really stand out to you. Okay, so, and you can also do this on your own time, but I'm going to just give a couple minutes. So I'm dropping into the chat. Oh, damn. I don't even think it can copy and paste so many. Okay. Kylie, have you ever done value stuff before? Sorry to pick on you.
Yeah, I have actually. I have looked at them before, but I think I kind of get a bit confused because sometimes I feel like they kind of contradict. So like, as in, I value freedom, but I also value stability. And so, I don't know, sometimes I get a bit tied up with that sort of side of it, whether I'm looking at what I actually value or what I think I should value, like, if that makes sense.
Totally. And I think that that's actually such a smart thing to bring up, because I believe that 2 things like that can coexist at the same time, freedom and stability, because what type of freedom is important to you, right? Like, the thing about values is, like, once you have them, how do you live them? Like, how do these values express? Like, to me, what's important to me about freedom is that I'm free to make choices in my business. I'm free to, okay, how do I explain this? I'm able to have freedom and stability at the same time, I think. I don't know. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. I think just for me, when I think about both of them, I think about them as in money, and I think that's where I kind of get tripped up. It's I kind of think about the money gives me the freedom and the stability, but what's actually important to me, like I can't even explain it properly, but
No, I think you're talking about career specifically, right? Career and money.
Yeah, well, I guess I am, just because that's my real life, I guess. It's it's the extra 20,000 I'm getting doing my new job. It's it's that sort of thing. So yeah,
it's like you feel like you had to trade one for the other.
Maybe, because it's quite interesting though, because the more money I'm earning, actually the more freedom I have. So it's kind of weird. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was kind of saying, is that the words can permeate in different ways. Like, I can feel free in some aspects of my business, but feel not free in some, you know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Okay. So here's a list of a ton of values. And what I would do, and I'm going to attach like a value worksheet for this for people, but I'm going to walk through the steps. What you do is you read the list and you start highlighting or marking the ones that catch your attention. and the ones that feel very important to you. And think about the different aspects of your life. Like, what is important to you value-wise in career? What's important to you value-wise in relationships? What's important value-wise to you in all the different aspects of your life, and really hone in on a list. And it's going to be more than 3 or 5. Then you start grouping the ones that are similar together. For example, like if, say, I did joy, enthusiasm, and playfulness, right? And those 3 are in the same vein. What I would do is, in each category, you choose one, and you choose the one that moves you the most, the one that feels most meaningful to you. And you chunk it down to 3 to 5 values. And I want you to like really sit with these and think about how we were speaking. How do these values express in my career life? Like, how can I be living by these values? So kind of bring an action word to the values. Let me give you an example. And I'll give you the website this exercise is based on. It's a really cool coaching site. So it says add a verb to each value label. So for example, if you picked freedom, you would change it to live in freedom. If you chose mindfulness, you would write the sentence, act with mindfulness. Instead of happiness, it becomes multiply happiness. So like create a little mini sentence out of each value that represents like how it expresses, right? And once you have those 3 to 5 things, keep them in the forefront, like put them on a note on your computer, save them somewhere important, and just knowing it already activates a transformation. Like, I love, Kylie, that you've sat to think about what's important to you and you've used it to inform your decisions, right? And now freedom is showing up in a cool way, which is through money, which is amazing. So you really still lived by your value of freedom. It's still very central in your life, which is cool. So gifts and talents and strengths, values, and then let's talk about your story. In any business or brand, especially in the coaching, personal growth world, but not limited to, at the beginning or whenever you're almost redesigning and refreshing your business, it's so important to think about your personal story and stories. Why did you start this in the first place? What was a transformation that had happened to you in your own life? What was the reason you got into this? What is the why behind your company or behind your business, behind why you started it? So your story is going to serve as, and you're going to have probably 1 to 3 stories. And I'll tell you what mine are, so it makes it more concrete. But when you have your stories and they're in the forefront of your mind and you begin to share about them, people connect to you because they can identify a part of them that is in your story, or the right people will connect with you. Because when you're vulnerable and you share something that was a struggle for you in the past, something maybe that you overcame, some transition, how you got from A to B, your personal story or stories open you up, and they show an authentic side of you that I think any person in business can connect to, or in any business, this matters because your audience, your clients can connect to you more. If you're a personal brand or you create a product, what is the why behind it? What's the story? I totally purchase because of stories. I love to know a story behind something. Even when, okay, say for example, I bought this vegetable cleaner, this spray vegetable cleaner the other day. I've never used a vegetable cleaner really in my life. I just wash the veggies. But I somehow got to this, and I read the girl who started its story. And the story was that she was very close to her father, and her father became sick with cancer. And on his list of approved things to eat from the doctor, fresh veggies were not on it. And she thought that was the most wild thing in the world. She was into nutrition. She knew the power of healing, of foods and vegetables and things to heal things. And so she thought it was completely crazy that these things were not permissible by the doctor, until he realized that because of the bacteria and the organisms that can be on these fresh, raw things, those things could actually be a danger. So she thought to create a product, which was this spray that was all natural, made from natural things, was easy to use, was quick. You spray down your fruits and vegetables, and it makes it safe. And then the father was able to eat it, and the father healed his cancer. That was the story. I immediately fell in love with this freaking spray. Okay. I had to order the spray because I connected to the story. When brands tell the story, they're humanized, and you realize that there's a connection, a human to human connection. So it's so important when you have a business and when you're starting this, to start thinking about your story or stories. A couple of mine are, okay, first, let me tell you some examples. This could be something epic in your life that you've gone through, like a teachable moment, something that you've gone through, a transformation, like an A to B kind of situation. Also think about something that you've embodied, something that you didn't know before, and you embodied it, you applied it, and it changed your life. Like you're like a different person. For me, those three stories or three examples would be the first time I got like awakened to personal growth and to consciousness and realized that I can choose my thoughts and my thoughts matter. Like that awakening moment story was very central to my growth, and it's one I tell a lot. My relationship story of how I was in a 6th year and how I left that relationship, and the 4 years single and manifesting that, like that is like a big story of mine. It's a big moment of mine. And then the attorney to life coach transition, that huge story. So you probably know me for one of those stories or multiple, and you know me because that's my real life. That's really my life experience. So for you, I'd love for you to write down 1 to 3 major stories from your life that connect to your business. And I know some of you might be in a whole other type of career, totally unrelated to coaching, which is totally fine. So maybe this aspect doesn't fully connect at the time, but it is clarity for you. It's clarity to know yourself, to know your story, know where you came from, and get connected back to the things that are important to you again. Why do you do the work that you do? Why are you on this path? What's important to you? And where are you going, right? It's your story. That's your connection. Do you have any questions? Is there anything that comes up right now? Okay. So now let's go to getting clear on your vision and your dream for your career. And I was just talking off the recording to someone in attendance, and we're talking about how this stuff it applies to so much more than career and business. It applies to you in any area of your life, any stage of your life, just rethinking about your gifts and talents, your strengths. Like, who does not need more self-belief and a reminder of what you're good at and a reminder that you are good at shit? You know what I mean? It's the self-attacking voice can be very, very, very loud. So it's very important to remind ourselves in any sphere of life, the things that we're amazing at and the areas that we're thriving, and keep those in the forefront of our mind. Because law of attraction, what you focus on grows. So as we express appreciation for and recognition and ownership of damn, I'm good at this. The more you will find things that you're good at and things to focus on that are good about you, because there's so much, I always joke that living with Matt has been such an awakening experience, because he will constantly shout out throughout the day. If he does something good, he's like, yes, I'm so good at this. And I'm like, that's amazing. I need to shout myself out more. I love the confidence. I love that you feel like this about yourself. And it really is inspiring, because I think we all can be our own hype people a whole lot more. So I love that we're talking about this. So gifts, talents, and strengths, all those inner resources. Another good list to add on, which I just thought of, is as you're writing down and discussing your inner resources and you're taking the quizzes and you're recognizing your talents, I want you to also write down all of the things that all of your resources, like what are the connections you have? What are the classes that you've taken? Who are the people you're connected to online? Who are the people who might just be well-connected people? Like, what are other resources do you have? Like, we might as well add fuel to this like inspirational fire we're building. We got a comment. Men seem to be better at that. Women get judged for it. Hell yeah. But we're here to like change that. Like, we're here to do it differently so that, and the more of us that do this, the bigger ripple occurs, like the bigger effect occurs. I think it's fire for women to be all about themselves and be not all about them, but pump themselves up. I think it's fire. Gifts and talents and strengths, values, your compass, what you care about, what's important to you, what's guiding your life, your story, seeing how you got to where you are now, getting clear on those important pivotal moments, transitions, teachable things. We really do go through things in life so that we can help others and people can learn from us. So share your story. You know, I don't care if this doesn't have to do with career at all, but be open, you know, be willing to share about yourself. And career aside, I think one of my biggest friend tips and connection tips is to share about myself openly, what I'm comfortable with at least. And it really does help you connect to humans. Kylie says, agree, we need to celebrate ourselves and each other more. Hell yeah. Okay, so vision and dream. What is your vision for your career? I'm going to ask you some really great open-ended questions to start getting the ball rolling. Now, this could be a career up level that we're talking about. This could be a career start over, like you're starting from scratch. This could be for a side hustle. You can use this process to get clear on anything, let alone career. So use this to your benefit, however you want. So I'm going to ask questions that are going to compile your vision. What is your ideal day in your work? Just starting off there. What is your ideal day? And take out practicality. This is, and it doesn't matter where you are now. This is about like shooting an arrow into the future, creating a dream scenario of like, what's your real ideal day as far as work? Are you working? And think about it and write down the aspects, right? How many hours are you working? What kinds of things are you doing? How are you spending your time? Are you going into an office? Do you work from a home office? Do you work laying out naked at your pool? What is your dream ideal day for work? Is it all phone meetings? Are you sketching out things in person with people? Are you sitting at conference table, big boardrooms? Are you speaking? Are you working on a podcast? Are you writing? Sorry, guys, I'm getting over a cold. Imagine go through like an ideal day for work and start writing down the things that really catch your attention. Then think about the who of all of this and really dive in. Who do you work with and who are your clients? What kinds of people are on your team? What are their values like? How does it feel to work together? Think about, what are your coworkers like? Are there specific people that you like dream of collaborating with? Do you want to write for somebody for a big article? So ideal day, ideal clients and coworkers, ideal people. Then think about so this is more kind of like coaching world, but who do you want to help? Who are the people that you want to affect with your work? Is it women who feel lost in careers? Is it women who want to get their love spark going again? Is it humans who just want to be better versions of themselves? What kind of people do you want to help? Think about who do you want to help and who do you want to serve? So ideal day, ideal clients and people you work with. And then who do you want to help? Who do you want to serve? Dude, the cough. So again, always include how you want to feel. How do you want to feel in your day-to-day work? Do you want to feel lit up, excited, passionate, expanded? Do you want to work with people who are kind, who respect you, who compliment you, who honor you? Do you want flexibility? Do you want freedom? Do you want tons of money? Do you want beautiful benefits? Do you want to work with people who are impacted by you or inspired by you? Like, what is your ideal vision and picture? Write it down. And that's the very first step in manifesting anything, is always creating the vision of what you want without practicality, without logic, with just dream, like dream vision for what you really want. And to dive into like the coaching space more, maybe you know that you want a podcast. Maybe you know that you want to write books. Maybe you know that you want to work one-on-one. Maybe you hate one-on-one, and maybe you just want to create some digital products. Maybe you want to create workbooks. Like, if there's anything you identify as something you would like to do, have, or be, this would be the time to write it down. So write all of it down. Okay. So we've got our gifts, talents, and strengths. We know to find them. We know then to spend time growing them, cultivating them, activating them. And also knowing that if something is not your strength, that you can learn anything, and having that mentality. Then you're going to take the Strength Finder test. You're going to find your strengths. You're going to think about them. You're going to feel how much this resonates with you, and really get clear on pen and paper just how valuable you are, where you can shine. You're going to write down your values. You're going to know what those are, your stories, and your vision. And once you have this, you have such a beautiful roadmap, such great clarity. And this is going to carry through in everything you create, everything you do. And it's going to inform your entire business in a way that's aligned for you and that works with you and your strengths. So that's it for module 2. Module 3 will be about coaching, like practically how to guide one-on-one sessions, how to set up a workshop, a digital class, and how to do that. So that's next week, and I will see you soon.